Okay, so Jefferson then resigns from Washington's cabinet. He begins the first opposition party to oppose Washington, Hamilton, and those who shared their similar ideas, who we'll call the Federalists in a little bit. I should add quickly that Jefferson, in the end, doesn't oppose the creation of the bus because he'll make a deal with Hamilton and get the location of Washington, D.C. out of this, all right, which is a huge, huge gift to the state of Virginia further down the road. And we'll talk about it. It'll be in our SOLs, all right, and eventually Jefferson's immediate political heirs will support the federal bank. Because they'll realize the importance of it. As I said, Jefferson leaves Washington's cabinet, begins his own political party, the Democratic Republicans. I want you to be aware of this chart. I want you to know everything on this chart. All right, Democratic Republicans. And what's missing there, led by Thomas Jefferson and James Madison, all right, his good friend and neighbor. They'll believe in a strict construction of the Constitution, Jefferson mostly when it suits him, okay? Emphasis on an agriculturally based economy. Oppose the National Bank, oppose tariffs, and pro-French are all key components or planks in their platform. They'll have most of their support from the South and frontier settlers in the West. All right, Hamilton and add John Adams to his side will be the leaders of the Federalist Party. They believe in a loose interpretation of the Constitution. They're going to be emphasis on a manufacturing, industrial economy, commercial economy, favor the bank, favor tariffs, and pro-British. All right, this attitude towards Britain will lead the Federalists to support the somewhat unpopular Jay's Treaty, which the Washington administration negotiates in 1794. It settles trade and border disputes between the U.S. and Britain. The most important part of the treaty is going to be when Britain agrees to take its soldiers out of the forts in the Ohio River Valley. This is an area they had given to us in the Treaty of Paris 1783, but they had never really abandoned. So now they're going to pull their troops out of there. All right, now near the end of his second term, Washington's going to make it clear that he doesn't want to run again. This internal political fighting and infighting is really bothering him. He wants out. He wants to retire to Mount Vernon, the house behind me, and live out his days. Okay, so Washington's going to split. That's the wrong one. But first, as president, he gives us another one of his precedents by giving a farewell address, okay? And I want you to recognize it. In it, he says, don't form political parties. Too late. Don't form foreign alliances. The parties are fighting for that. And beware of sectionalism, which we'll see arise. That's love of one's sections before the national government. We're going to see that come up almost immediately, okay? Now, after Washington, our second president will be John Adams, all right? Adams will be elected president number 2, and at this time we're at war with France, okay? I'll put that back up in a minute. And even though the Federalists are pushing for war and pro-British, Adams is going to keep us out of that war, all right? He's going to resist pressure from Hamilton and other Federalists, which will cost him the election later on. And another thing Adams, I want to make clear, has going against him, and I want you to know how this can happen and why it's so bad. Thomas Jefferson's his vice president. All right, so if you can tell me, extra credit right here, one paragraph, why is it odd that Jefferson's his vice president, and what, how does that happen even, okay? All right, so Adams is going to fight a quasi-war, all right, an undeclared war with France, until a new French government's installed that sides with us, and not sides with us, but respects our neutrality and allows us to trade with who we want. All right, but again, it'll weaken Adams' position and lose him the next election. So I'm going to throw up some vocab I want you to bring up in class, us to discuss in class, all right, to expand on this a little further, especially before we get to the election of 1800, which is hugely important. All right, so I'm going to put the board back up. There you go. Be aware of the Whiskey Rebellion that's under Washington, quasi-war we talked about, XYZ affair, alien and sedition. Alien is not from outer space. It's somebody who's not native to the country. Sedition's when you speak badly about your government. All right, I want us to be aware of those, the Virginia and Kentucky resolutions, and what nullification is, because that's going to be a repeater. That's going to come up for the next few units. All right, that's going to do it for the end of Unit 3, Lecture 3b, I guess. Okay?